This is my wish list if Uniden ever releases a HomePatrol-3. Now, let me just clarify one thing here really quickly. We saw the Uniden BCD436HP and the 536HP released in early of 2014. This was before the HomePatrol-2 came out. And we also saw the release of the SDS-100 and the SDS-200 in 2019. These were the last two radios that used the HomePatrol platform to be released by Uniden. But in today's video, we're going to talk about the original body style HomePatrol-1 and HomePatrol-2. Let's take a quick look at what the HomePatrol-1 offered us. Back in 2010, this was cutting-edge technology from Uniden. This was their first radio that allowed us to actually interface with the radio reference database and supported analog, Motorola, EDAX, LTR, and P25 Phase 1 transmissions. We did not have the ability to do DMR, NXDN, or Pro Voice in this radio, but it offered touchscreen, which is something that no other radio had in its day. In 2014, we saw an upgrade to the HomePatrol-1, the HomePatrol-2. Again, this one also had analog, Motorola, EDAX, LTR, but it also included P25 Phase 1 and Phase 2. But just like the HomePatrol-1, no DMR, no NXDN, and no Pro Voice. If you wanted more out of your HomePatrol-1 and the HomePatrol-2, you had to pay for the Extreme upgrade, which gave you options such as band scopes, programming without the need for Sentinel software, control channel output on the USB port, discovery mode, logical channel number finding, as well as some other interesting things that you could do directly from the interface of the scanner. So with the history out of the way, let's talk about what I'd like to see in a HomePatrol-3 model, and I hope somebody from Uniden is listening. Obviously, we want something that looks pretty similar to the HomePatrol-1 and the HomePatrol-2, because this scanner model fits a particular user set. This scanner was made for somebody that wants to take a radio out of the box, set it up, put their zip code in, and scan. No need to know anything about what is around you. Just put your zip code in, set your range, and you're off to the races. And we'd like to keep this functionality there. So obviously we need something that does analog, Motorola, P25 Phase 1 and Phase 2. But I'd love to see the ability to add NXDN, DMR, and Pro Voice. I think it's time that we have an upgrade to the HomePatrol line that includes these digital modulations, especially since DMR and NXDN is becoming very, very popular. Now, being that the SDS-100 and the SDS-200 work really well in simulcast, and there's no entry-level radio for simulcast, I believe that the HomePatrol-3 could fit that price point. It would sit nicely below the SDS-100 and the SDS-200 because it doesn't have all the bells and features, and it would be a nice improvement and a natural progression from the HomePatrol-2 to the HomePatrol-3. The HomePatrol-3 should have an SDR receiver on the back end that supports simulcast. Something else I think we need in a scanner these days is connectivity. Whether it be Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, I think both would be awesome to have in here. But imagine this. Imagine that you have Wi-Fi in your HomePatrol-3. And this, in theory, it's just another feature I think we should have, is the ability to do database updates and firmware updates over the air. Basically meaning we do not need a computer at all to not only set up our HomePatrol-3, but also to keep the database up to date. Think about it. Your smartphone can update over the air. Why can't a radio like a HomePatrol do the same thing? This may help users that don't have computers to keep their scanners updated. It may also help those that only have Apple products or only tablets. Again, the original HomePatrol lineup was made for somebody that wanted to take the radio out of the box, set it up, and not have to worry about all the changes that were required to keep the radio going. Over-the-air database updates just make sense here. Hey, and while I'm getting greedy here, looking for more things to add to a HomePatrol-3, why not GPS? Yes, the HomePatrol-1 and HomePatrol-2 wasn't really the best radio to mount on your dashboard, but if you, again, are an end user that just wants to program in your zip code and set this thing up, I think having a GPS built into the scanner just makes sense. Now, being that the HomePatrol-1 and the HomePatrol-2 allowed us to have an extreme upgrade, I think an extreme upgrade would be required on a HomePatrol-3. But to set the HomePatrol-3 apart with their extreme upgrades, wouldn't it be cool to tap into what I'm asking for here, a software-defined radio inside a HomePatrol-3, and actually see a waterfall display on the screen, and the ability to control the radio by tapping on that waterfall and tuning it and zooming in and seeing what's around us on a band scope? I think that would really set the HomePatrol 3 apart. We really need a scanner radio on the market these days that has a screen that shows us what's around us. This is something that's available in the amateur radio world, and I believe this is something that we could easily see in a HomePatrol 3. And of course, one more wish list item. There are plenty of people out there who are visually impaired that are begging to have a scanner radio that has voice feedback so they know what's on the screen and they understand how to use the radios. Radios are becoming more and more complicated, and we do need something out there. Like even a Baofeng radio will tell us what it is doing. It's time that the scanner radio manufacturers get on board with this and offer some sort of audio feedback to what's going on the screen. Now, I know I'm asking a lot here, so how do I propose keeping prices low? Well, let's work with a model that already exists. You buy a scanner radio now, whether it be a BCD996P2, whether it be a BCD536, or even an SDS. Pay for the upgrades. If you pay for NXDN, DMR, or Pro Voice, that would keep the prices lower because they're not giving you licenses up front. If you need the license, you can pay for them. Well, what about the Extreme? Exactly. If we have the band scope tied into the Extreme, I think that would be something that would push users. I know I would open my wallet for a HomePatrol 3 Extreme if it gave me the ability to have a waterfall display on the screen. And finally, I have a request here that I think would really blow the HomePatrol 3 out of the water. If we have wireless connectivity to this device, why can't we stream directly from Broadcastify on a HomePatrol 3? Think about it. You have a scanner that can scan through live audio feeds and also local scanner radio activity. This would be an awesome device to not only keep in touch with what's happening in the world around you, but also outside of your listening area. Or if you live in an area that you have a really tough time getting reception, you can just stream somebody else's scanner that's in your area from a HomePatrol. I think that would really be an awesome idea. What do you think would be an awesome idea for a HomePatrol 3? Leave your comments down below and make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss our next YouTube video. Now, I go into more details on my wish list and the reasoning behind this on my podcast. Look for session 266 on your favorite podcast player or even your smart speaker to hear a more detailed version of this video. And again, you can always find that on our website over at scannerschool.com if you don't listen to podcasts.